Sergeant Marcus Webb adjusted his ceremonial armor for what felt like the 1,000th time that shift, while Kepler Station hummed around him with the constant tension of military officers from two species trying to maintain professional relationships during ceasefire negotiations that had dragged on for 6 months without producing anything except impressive documentation of how difficult peace could be, when both sides seemed committed to finding reasons why it wouldn't work. His third consecutive double shift of guard duty had left him operating on caffeine, willpower, and the kind of mental fog that made basic cognitive functions feel like advanced mathematics performed while wearing combat boots. The joint military base served as neutral ground where human forces and the Tharvian Empire attempted diplomacy through representatives who maintained perfect military bearing, while secretly counting the hours until they could return to their respective territories. Perimeter Security Checkpoint 7, all clear, Marcus reported through his comm system, though his definition of clear had become increasingly flexible as exhaustion made distinguishing between actual threats and random station noises more challenging than his training had prepared him for. No unauthorized personnel, no suspicious activity, no signs of anyone doing anything more interesting than arguing about resource allocation agreements. The ceremonial armor weighed more than most people's entire equipment loadouts, designed to look impressive during diplomatic functions, while providing the kind of physical discomfort that made standing motionless for hours feel like an endurance challenge that tested the limits of human patience and lower back strength. His assignment required maintaining perfect military bearing, while officials from both civilizations conducted negotiations that seemed designed to test everyone's patience rather than achieve lasting peace. Sleep deprivation had reached levels where his brain occasionally provided helpful commentary about his surroundings, without consulting his conscious mind first, creating conditions where normally disciplined soldiers sometimes express thoughts that should remain internal observations rather than vocalized opinions about sensitive diplomatic situations. During a brief break between ceremonial duties, Marcus encountered Commander Lyra Velthane, a Tharvian military liaison whose elegant form and crystalline skin had caught his attention during previous diplomatic functions. Her presence radiated confident authority, while her elongated ears tracked conversations throughout the busy station with predatory precision that suggested tactical awareness beyond human capabilities. Military protocol strictly forbade casual interaction between species during sensitive negotiations, though exhaustion had begun making protocol requirements feel like theoretical suggestions rather than practical commands that determined whether peace talks continued or collapsed into renewed warfare that would claim millions of additional lives. "Commander," Marcus nodded respectfully, trying to maintain professional distance while his fatigue-compromised brain processed the visual data of someone whose physical form represented the kind of elegant design that human evolution had never quite achieved despite considerable effort over multiple millennia. His exhausted state, combined with the kind of honest appreciation that sleep-deprived minds sometimes expressed without proper filtering, led to a moment of unguarded observation that bypassed his military training entirely. "You know, I've been wondering if your people designed themselves, or if the universe just decided to show off when it made you." The words escaped before his disciplined mind could intervene, creating exactly the kind of diplomatic incident that military handbooks warned against while providing no practical guidance for what to do when extreme fatigue made soldiers voice inappropriate observations to alien commanders, whose responses could determine whether negotiations continued or collapsed into renewed hostilities. Marcus felt his career prospects evaporating in real time, while calculating how many different ways this moment could restart interstellar warfare through simple exhaustion-induced honesty that had transformed private appreciation into vocalized breach of protocol that could be interpreted as everything from casual compliment to species-level diplomatic insult. "Sir, I apologize," he began, preparing for the kind of professional rebuke that ended military careers. "That was completely inappropriate and—" Commander Lyra's crystalline features shifted through expressions that suggested his sleep-deprived honesty had triggered something far more significant than simple breach of military protocol. Her response would either remain a private moment of embarrassment that could be managed through formal apology procedures, or transform into the most politically significant military protocol violation in recorded diplomatic history. The station's monitoring systems chimed softly with notifications that Marcus didn't recognize, while somewhere in the depths of Tharvian governmental machinery, ancient cultural programs began processing patterns in his unfiltered truth-telling that would either destroy his military career or reshape the entire framework of interstellar relations in ways that neither species had anticipated. Such directness, Commander Lyra said with ceremonial precision that transformed Marcus's mortifying breach of protocol into something approaching cosmic significance, constitutes binding truth under ancient Tharvian law. I acknowledge the sincerity of your unguarded observation as creating formal recognition bonds between us. Marcus's tactical display erupted in notification cascades that suggested the station's systems had developed artificial intelligence dedicated to overwhelming him with governmental procedures he'd never studied. Binding truth, what now? He managed, while his security clearance apparently expanded to include military databases he definitely hadn't requested access to. The station's oath sensor array exploded in harmonic resonance that echoed throughout the facility like cosmic bells, announcing something of tremendous military significance, while other personnel stopped their conversations to process why routine guard duty had suddenly triggered station-wide ceremonial alerts that typically accompanied major diplomatic breakthroughs. "The truth bond has been properly witnessed," Commander Lyra explained with satisfaction that couldn't quite mask her careful evaluation of his reaction to sudden military authority expansion. Ancient Tharvian law recognizes honest communication as creating formal obligation bonds that grant shared command status and tactical integration for those who demonstrate unguarded sincerity without expectation of political advancement. Through their suddenly established connection, information flowed like tactical data synchronizing between linked command systems. Marcus gained access to Tharvian military intelligence, revealing systematic corruption in ceasefire maintenance, while Commander Lyra discovered human tactical records showing coordinated sabotage of peace negotiations designed to maintain profitable military tension. Base Commander Harrison, Marcus realized as data streamed across their shared awareness, has been coordinating with your General Kexvara to maintain what they call optimal conflict protocols. Ceasefire violations generate military contracts, while negotiation delays justify expensive mediation services that somehow never quite achieve lasting peace. The financial records painted a picture of systematic exploitation that treated warfare as renewable resources for defense service contracts. Peace negotiations were deliberately complicated to create dependency situations, while military readiness was systematically maintained at levels that generated ongoing equipment and training contracts controlled by the conspiracy. Through their bond, Marcus experienced Tharvian command processing that made human military analysis seem like crude approximations of more sophisticated tactical instruments. Commander Lyra discovered that human strategic thinking operated through direct observation, approaches that her military education had never considered relevant to command decisions, but which proved remarkably effective at identifying corruption in systems designed to maintain warfare rather than achieve peace. General Kexvara's military equipment company, she observed through their connection, operates on renewable conflict principles. His contracts depend on continued warfare preparation, because achieved peace would eliminate ongoing revenue streams and reduce demand for military hardware and training services. The binding truth created mental intimacy that made sharing thoughts feel as natural as sharing tactical intelligence, though Marcus's human tendency toward direct honesty seemed to fascinate someone whose command training had emphasized strategic calculation over unfiltered communication during crisis situations. Evidence accumulated revealing that ceasefire violations had been carefully orchestrated to maximize profits for defense service providers. Military tension wasn't accidental diplomatic failure but calculated business opportunity, with both species security welfare sacrificed for contractor profits measured in quarterly revenue reports rather than lives protected or conflicts resolved. The truth protection, Commander Lyra explained quietly, creates ceremonial immunity that prevents direct action against us while we investigate. Ancient Tharvian law recognizes honesty bonds as creating sacred obligation to complete whatever mission initiated the unguarded truth-telling, regardless of military pressure to abandon peace processes for contractor convenience. Their shared awareness revealed suspicious coordination between human defense contractors and Tharvian logistics companies, all carefully structured to benefit from continued military preparation. Ceasefire maintenance wasn't genuine peacekeeping but calculated profit optimization, with civilian security measured against corporate earnings rather than basic responsibility to end warfare between civilizations capable of cooperation. Marcus's achievement notifications had progressed to Level 1, accidentally bonded to Alien Commander, with helpful cultural notes about truth customs that included command authority sharing and permanent integration into military leadership structures that made human promotion procedures seem remarkably limited by comparison. "Commander," Marcus said carefully, "I should mention that when I made that observation about your people's design aesthetics, I was thinking more along the lines of sleep-deprived appreciation rather than cosmic military alliance. Though I have to admit, having access to classified databases might help explain why our negotiations keep failing despite everyone claiming to want peace." Her laugh carried musical undertone that seemed to harmonize with the station's now-quiet alert systems. "Your honesty was offered without knowledge of its implications, which makes it more valuable rather than less. The truth recognizes genuine observation regardless of diplomatic sophistication or intended consequences." External surveillance increased as their bonding attracted attention from conspiracy beneficiaries, who seemed remarkably well-informed about activities in supposedly neutral military territory. Both human and Tharvian forces began positioning themselves with movements that suggested coordinated planning between supposed negotiating competitors. "The tribunal deadline," Commander Lyra noted with growing urgency, "approaches through channels that affect defense service contracts. If our evidence becomes public before we expose those who profit from continued warfare, various factions will move to eliminate witnesses who threaten arrangements built on systematic peace sabotage." The weight of cosmic decision settled around them like gravity remembering its most militaristic responsibilities, while thousands of military personnel remained committed to a ceasefire that served contractor interests, rather than achieving the lasting peace that both civilizations desperately needed, but somehow couldn't quite manage to negotiate successfully. The Binding Truths integration protocols transformed Marcus and Commander Lyra's connection into something resembling a two-person military intelligence agency specializing in peace sabotage, complete with shared consciousness that made processing warfare corruption data feel like collaborative tactical analysis between someone who understood how military systems were supposed to protect people and someone who understood how command structures were designed to achieve victory, but had been perverted into profit generation mechanisms that prioritized contractor revenue over ending conflicts. Their combined awareness flowed like synchronized command protocols, allowing them to examine evidence with human tactical precision and Tharvian strategic authority. Base Commander Harrison's defense logistics protocols, Commander Lyra observed through their link, demonstrate remarkable creativity in conflict engineering. I'm reviewing military budgets that claim readiness improvements while actually documenting sabotage procedures, designed to create warfare problems, requiring premium military intervention services that generate massive profits, while peace remains systematically unachievable. Marcus felt their awareness merging in ways that made distinguishing between his thoughts and hers an increasingly academic exercise. The evidence revealed systematic coordination that extended far beyond simple war profiteering. Ceasefire agreements had been deliberately compromised through protocol modifications that introduced conflict-generating instabilities. Peace negotiations had been altered to create complications that forced dependence on expensive mediation services. And even basic diplomatic security had been sabotaged to maintain the appearance of ongoing threat that justified continued military contracts rather than successful conflict resolution. Through Commander Lyra's strategic access, Marcus discovered hidden communication networks revealing that peace negotiations had been systematically corrupted whenever genuine resolution threatened to eliminate justification for military interventions. The warfare wasn't accidental diplomatic failure, but carefully maintained business opportunity, with both species' peace welfare sacrificed for defense contractor profits that measured success by ongoing conflict rather than achieved resolution. General Kexvara's military contracts, Marcus realized through their shared investigation, operate on manufactured conflict principles. His company creates negotiation problems through deliberate sabotage, then charges premium rates for military solutions to diplomatic crises they systematically cause, while preventing sustainable peace that would actually end warfare instead of managing it for ongoing profit generation. The danger escalated as their investigation attracted attention from multiple conspiracy beneficiaries. Human military hardliners had begun subtle repositioning around command areas, while Tharvian court extremists moved with careful precision that suggested preparation for operations designed to eliminate inconvenient witnesses before military oversight could threaten profitable status quo arrangements built on systematic peace sabotage that treated warfare as a renewable resource. Their cultural exchange continued as they navigated the intimate requirements of shared truth consciousness during conspiracy investigation. Marcus discovered that Tharvian problem-solving involved strategic analysis that his human tactical instincts seemed to disrupt, while Commander Lyra learned that human military approaches operated through systematic threat assessment, that her command training would approach through diplomatic channels that somehow never quite resolved underlying warfare issues that kept generating defense contractor profits. Your thought patterns, she noted with scientific fascination, create solution pathways that ignore traditional military hierarchies but somehow reach effective peace conclusions. The cognitive approach suggests your species develop tactical intelligence through direct interaction with warfare consequences, rather than theoretical conflict frameworks designed to manage problems through administrative procedures that maintain profitable instability. Through their bond, Marcus experienced Tharvian command processing that made human military strategy seem like crude approximations of more sophisticated warfare instruments. Commander Lyra discovered that human tactical thinking operated through pattern recognition that identified systematic conflict maintenance. Her strategic education would classify as separate military issues, requiring different command structures to handle individually rather than recognizing coordinated peace sabotage. The conspiracy evidence revealed coordination that reached beyond simple profit motive into deliberate conflict manipulation, designed to maintain what Harrison and Kexvara called sustainable warfare management. Peace negotiation systems had been designed to fail just enough to justify ongoing military intervention contracts, while success rates remained high enough to prevent complete war that would expose their systematic sabotage of diplomatic processes that should end conflicts rather than manage them profitably. The artificial negotiation failures, Commander Lyra explained through their connection, weren't accidental diplomatic breakdowns. Peace processes were coordinated to create problems that increased military response requirements while generating revenue for defense services, conflict mediation, and extended warfare management contracts that somehow never quite established lasting resolution between civilizations capable of cooperation. External surveillance increased as both human and Tharvian forces prepared for tribunal deadline operations. Through their shared awareness, they tracked movement patterns that suggested coordinated planning between supposed peace negotiation competitors, proving the conspiracy reached operational levels of both military services that were supposed to achieve conflict resolution rather than maintain profitable warfare. The station's diplomatic activity proceeded around them with mechanical efficiency that couldn't quite mask systematic sabotage, designed to maintain profitable peace process failure that kept defense contractors wealthy while people died in wars that could have been resolved through honest negotiation. Military processing had been complicated unnecessarily. Security clearance requirements had been multiplied beyond practical necessity, and command coordination had been implemented in ways that created conflict rather than ensuring adequate resolution for civilizations seeking to end warfare through diplomatic cooperation. The binding truth protection, Commander Lyra explained quietly, creates ceremonial immunity that prevents direct action against us while we investigate. But revealing our bond publicly will either legitimize our evidence or make us targets for elimination, depending on whether forces protecting profitable warfare can silence witnesses before truth spreads beyond their operational control, and people understand that their conflicts have been generating corporate profits rather than achieving necessary security. Marcus's achievement system had reached Level 3, Inadvertent Peace Revolutionary, while offering helpful suggestions about truth recognition ceremonies that apparently involved public testimony and something called command witness integration that sounded either deeply significant or like expensive military relationship counseling with tactical benefits that might actually help end wars. Through their investigation, they'd uncovered evidence that peace negotiations had been deliberately sabotaged to generate ongoing revenue for defense service providers, while sustainable conflict resolution solutions had been blocked through regulatory requirements that served no purpose except maintaining profitable warfare that affected millions of people whose lives were destroyed by systematic conflict maintenance, designed to benefit corporate shareholders rather than achieve the peace that both civilizations desperately needed. I should mention, Marcus admitted through their connection, that accidentally bonding with alien commanders during routine guard duty wasn't covered in military training. My preparation focused more on maintaining security perimeters and following orders, not on exposing interstellar warfare conspiracies through truth-binding ceremonies that apparently come with command authority I never wanted but might actually help end these pointless conflicts. Her mental laughter rippled through their shared consciousness like harmonic resonance in perfectly coordinated military systems. Command education includes extensive coverage of truth-binding traditions, but mostly as ceremonial procedures for planned strategic alliances. No one expected them to activate through genuine human honesty expressed during military crisis, involving systematic peace sabotage that treats warfare as a business opportunity rather than a problem to be solved. The tribunal deadline announcement echoed through station communications, while thousands of military personnel continued preparing for conflicts that had been artificially maintained for corporate profit rather than genuine security needs. And Marcus and Commander Lyra faced the choice that would determine whether their accidental truth bond could expose corruption that had turned peace negotiations into systematic exploitation, or whether profitable warfare would continue while honest conflict resolution remained compromised by defense contractor interests that viewed lasting peace as a threat to their revenue streams rather than the goal that both civilizations desperately needed to achieve. The military tribunal deadline approached with the weight of peace destiny, painting the station corridors in emergency lighting that Marcus's exhausted consciousness could only describe as the official color of systematic warfare exploitation, reaching its moment of conflict resolution truth. His caffeine withdrawal had achieved philosophical dimensions, manifesting as what felt like his neurons conducting a tactical symposium about the cosmic significance of accidentally your species' stimulant dependencies, Commander Lyra observed through their bond, her mental voice carrying what had become familiar affection mixed with strategic curiosity, create fascinating tactical resonance patterns. I'm experiencing sympathetic cravings for something you call combat alertness fuel, which sounds either deeply practical or mildly hazardous for long-term command function during extended military operations that somehow never quite end successfully. The morning tribunal convened in the station's central command theater, where representatives from both militaries and various defense contractors gathered with expressions suggesting they were witnessing either revolutionary peace breakthrough or spectacular interspecies military disaster that could expose decades of systematic conflict maintenance designed to generate corporate profits rather than achieve resolution. Marcus's tactical display had evolved beyond simple device into what could only be described as a digital consciousness, dedicated to exposing warfare corruption with the enthusiasm of artificial intelligence that had discovered military justice. Base Commander Harrison rose with theatrical precision that suggested considerable preparation for this exact confrontation involving systematic peace sabotage. Esteemed colleagues, we must address the concerning situation involving Sergeant Webb, who appears to have fallen victim to sophisticated Tharvian manipulation techniques disguised as traditional truth-binding ceremonies that could compromise our carefully maintained military readiness protocols. Alternatively, Commander Lyra interjected with strategic ruthlessness that made military destruction look like performance art. We address systematic conspiracy between human defense contractors and Tharvian military suppliers to maintain profitable warfare exploitation through coordinated peace sabotage and deliberate conflict obstruction that has been generating massive profits from preventable casualties in wars that could have ended years ago. The evidence cascaded across the command theater's display systems like digital military revelation, overwhelming damage control efforts with sheer volume of undeniable proof that exposed decades of coordinated warfare exploitation. Financial records revealed Harrison's defense division receiving payments coordinated with Kexvara's military corporation, all carefully timed around ceasefire violations that maximized intervention contracts while preventing sustainable peace that would eliminate ongoing revenue streams generated from systematic conflict maintenance. The negotiation failures, Marcus explained to the increasingly pale-faced assembly, were artificially maintained through coordinated sabotage and diplomatic manipulation that prolonged wars for profit. Peace processes weren't failing due to complex diplomatic challenges, but profit optimization algorithms designed to extend defense service contracts while preventing conflict resolution that would reduce dependency on expensive military interventions that generated revenue from systematic warfare maintenance. Communication logs showed suspicious coordination between supposed peace competitors, revealing that conflict resolution systems had been deliberately designed to fail at precisely the rate that justified ongoing military intervention contracts, without achieving actual peace that would expose their systematic sabotage. Documentation proved that artificial complications had been created through systematic diplomatic corruption, generating warfare situations that required expensive military responses instead of sustainable peace processes that would actually end conflicts. General Kexvara's supporters launched their prepared counterattack, claiming human tactical manipulation had compromised Commander Lyra through species-specific military warfare techniques designed to exploit Tharvian truth traditions for peace advantage. Their arguments evaporated like morning mist when evidence revealed Kexvara's personal financial stakes in continued warfare maintenance, with defense contracts that somehow never quite completed their conflict resolution projects, requiring endless additional funding cycles that coincidentally aligned with diplomatic failures that prolonged wars for corporate profit. The assassination attempt unfolded exactly as their shared awareness had predicted, with explosives targeting command areas, while both human extremists and Tharvian hardliners blamed each other for coordinated attacks designed to restart active hostilities and justify abandoning peace negotiations entirely. Marcus and Commander Lyra's mental connection allowed them to anticipate and expose the false flag operation in real time, broadcasting intercepted communications that proved both attacks originated from the same conspiracy designed to maintain profitable warfare. Distinguished delegates, Commander Lyra announced with crystalline authority that made the command theater feel like the peace center of the universe. I invoke the right of truth defense under binding law. The evidence we present will be broadcast simultaneously to all government databases, military advocacy networks, and public conflict information systems across both civilizations. The moment of cosmic choice arrived with gravitational weight that seemed to bend space around their decision. Commander Lyra could shield Marcus permanently, binding their lives together while using their bond to broadcast proof that would restore honest peace negotiations to the contested territories. Or she could dismiss their connection while preserving traditional military protocols that enabled continued systematic exploitation disguised as legitimate security concerns. Marcus Webb, she said, her voice carrying across the command theater with absolute certainty. Your unguarded honesty represents the finest qualities of genuine human integrity. I choose to honor that truth with permanent commitment and warfare justice that will ensure no more people die for corporate profits disguised as necessary conflicts. I accept the truth defense, Marcus replied, understanding that his exhausted honesty had transformed him from a tired soldier trying to maintain guard duty into someone willing to challenge the institutional corruption that had been systematically prolonging warfare for contractor profit. Let the evidence reach everyone who deserves peace instead of profitable wars. The quantum broadcast engaged with harmonic resonance that felt like the universe taking a collective sigh of military relief. Their compiled evidence streamed simultaneously to every accessible database, overwhelming defense contractor damage control with the volume of undeniable documentation. The systematic exploitation died in real time as truth spread faster than any warfare spin could contain. Peace negotiations opened to honest operation within hours as artificial barriers dissolved under public scrutiny. Conflict resolution was restored as sabotage protocols evaporated once their profit motive disappeared. Military systems that had been mysteriously ineffective at achieving peace for years suddenly discovered efficient diplomatic processes when defense contractor pricing structures collapsed under transparency requirements. Marcus's achievement system reached mission complete, accidentally revolutionized interstellar peace processes, while offering congratulations on most tactically significant truth bond in recorded history. The universe's sense of military justice, he realized, sometimes operated through the most unexpected honesty methods. 6 months later, Marcus and Commander Lyra oversaw the signing of the first comprehensive peace treaty between human territories and the Tharvian Empire. Their accidental truth bond having become the foundation for new military protocols that prioritized actual conflict resolution over defense contractor revenue. The exhausted soldier who'd expressed unguarded honesty had been replaced by someone willing to challenge institutional warfare manipulation, while their partnership proved that sometimes the most sincere truth-telling, expressed with unfiltered intention during moments of complete exhaustion, can expose not just personal observations, but the systematic lies that keep civilizations fighting wars that primarily benefit those who profit from conflict maintenance, rather than the people whose lives are destroyed by warfare maintained for corporate revenue generation. Your combat alertness fuel, Commander Lyra observed, watching him prepare their morning ritual, still tastes like liquid determination with delusions of palatability. But it's our liquid determination, Marcus replied, feeling her mental laughter ripple through their permanent bond like harmonic resonance in perfectly coordinated peace systems. The cosmos, it seemed, rewarded honest exhaustion in the most unexpected ways.